Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we are going to react to three disturbing true horror stories animated by 1C Entertainment. So yeah, let's get going. Please go. I'm linking this original video in my description. Please go ahead and subscribe to that channel. And yeah, let's get started.
Hello, my name is Kian Redhead. I want to tell you a story about something my foster brother Simon experienced a few years ago. I call him my brother because my sister and I were in foster care,
Okay.
and he was my sister's foster brother. This happened about 3 or 4 years ago when Simon was around 8 or 9 and I was 11. Simon, though somewhat fun, could also be a bit annoying. The rest of us playing were my sister Kiana, who was 10, and our older foster brother Gage,
Yeah, just
who was
like
also 10.
normal siblings, right?
It was a weekend night near spring or summer in York Landing, Manitoba, in Canada, a very small reserve where we all lived. It was late, about 10 p.m., and it was raining. We decided to play manhunt. We all picked
Guys,
Simon
already the place is looking so desolated, right? It's in the middle of nowhere or in the middle of a forest, only 3 houses.
to be it, and he gave us 30 seconds to run and hide.
And they're playing hide and
Since
seek.
we all lived on a reserve, we had practically a whole forest, or a very large backyard, to hide in. I went to the backyard, heading close to the sandy pit where they kept gravel for construction. The rain had made the
Yeah,
sand
that looks like
muddy.
quicksand.
I went toward the bushes to hide, and Kiana was with me. Simon's perspective. Simon started searching and went down the trail that leads to the sandy pit. He took a left and started walking up the neighbor's path to loop back toward the houses. Then, he thought he saw me and Kiana walking together.
Why are they
He
black?
smiled and began following the
Like they are
figures, even though
shadowed,
Kiana
right?
and I were already hidden.
Yo,
Simon
look at their
stopped
eyes.
and dropped to the ground when one of the figures looked back at him, then took a sharp right into a forestry trail. He thought he heard us calling his name, so he backed away and went toward the house.
Look at his
My
face.
perspective. After a while, we hadn't heard from Simon, and no one had screamed. So Kiana and I went back to the house. Everyone was there, except Simon. After about 2 minutes of waiting, we all started to call out for him. We headed toward the neighbor's yard and found him walking toward us, crying. We hugged him and asked him what happened. He told us everything. We went and told the adults, but they didn't believe us. Simon said that he heard us call his name, and that
Yeah, it looks like 2 creatures cosplaying them as the other 2 guys, right?
that's when he ducked to the ground and hid. He said the figure
Like
looked back when
shapeshifters
it
or
heard us
something.
calling. I don't live there anymore, but Simon and Gage still do. Sometimes Kiana and I talk about it, and it gives me chills thinking about it. Sometimes I wonder what would have happened if Simon had followed that figure into the trail. I think it could
Yo.
have been a skinwalker pretending to be me and Kiana to lure him away.
Bro, is this the real map? Yo.
This story happened during a camping trip in the fall of 2019.
story.
At the time, I was attending college in Portland, and I decided to head south with my friend Jason for the weekend. I followed Jason's lead, and when we arrived at the campground, it was incredibly quiet, secluded, and there wasn't a lot of traffic. As I was pitching
good.
my tent, I noticed
Yeah.
a sign attached to a tree. It said, "Private property, no trespassing,"
Private
and
property?
underneath
Nah,
it,
man.
it was
If it's private property, get out. Because in America, they'll, they, you know.
written, "Violators will be," and the rest of the text was erased. And below that, someone had spray
Get
painted
out.
the word "die" in red.
Jason, look at this. That's funny.
I told Jason, laughing. Jason's
That
face
is not funny,
hardened
bro.
when he saw the sign. He told me that we might have to move camp somewhere else, but I told him we would be fine. So we made a fire and joked around until we fell asleep. Sometime later, I woke up in the middle of the night to a rustling sound outside the tent. I immediately knew it was someone walking, stepping on branches. I woke Jason. He heard it too,
Yo.
and his expression turned terrified. He whispered,
They
"What
don't
should
even
we
have
do?"
any weapon or
At that
something with them.
moment, the tent's zipper suddenly unzipped
Yo.
and someone poked their head inside. It was
Look
a
at that.
man. He slowly smiled, a creepy, unsettling smile. His face was filthy, as if he hadn't washed in months. I could see his red eyes and rotted black teeth, but he didn't look like a simple homeless person. His face radiated an inexplicable, murderous aura. Then he said to us, "Haven't you seen the sign? He put his hand into the
Yo.
tent, holding what looked like a large piece of bone. It looked like the bone of a large animal, long, sharp,
This
and
guy's
jagged,
wandering around
as
in
if
the
it had
night.
been deliberately ground
Might be a
into
crazy,
a point.
you know.
With Jason's thunderous scream, I instinctively shoved the man's face away. He stumbled backward, and I bolted out of the tent like a bullet. He was swinging the bone at me, and I kicked him hard and yelled at Jason to start the car. Jason ran over, jumped in, and started it. I sprinted toward him, dove into the passenger seat, and we tore out of there. We left our tent and belongings behind and just kept driving. A few days later, when we returned, we were horrified. Our tent was covered in red spray paint with the word "die," and inside were 2 horribly mutilated animal carcasses. We couldn't even tell what kind of animals they were. We ran like crazy and never went back. Who on earth was that man? The terror of that night still haunts me.
I mean, it's lucky that they escaped from there. That was crazy, bro. Last
Maybe
story
my
number
story
3.
isn't really scary, but it was traumatic for a 9-year-old at the time.
All right.
It was during the 2020 lockdown. We went on vacation since it was summer. My parents, me, my 2 older cousins, my aunt, her husband, and her 2 kids all went together. There were many of us. We stayed at a big resort. The resort looked like a 2 to 3 story high gray house. We got one big room that was enough for all of us.
Okay,
It
good.
had 2 or 3 bunk beds and one big bed for 2 or 3 people. And the
That seems
first day
cozy,
was
bro.
fine. The second night, someone began knocking on the door. My dad and my aunt's husband woke up first, then the rest of us started waking up one by one. We had already locked our door before going to sleep, so at first we
like
didn't
that,
worry.
yeah.
But my aunt's husband bent down and looked under the door. There was a little space under it, so he checked. The knocking continued, but there was no shadow, no legs, nothing. We were scared, but it was late and I fell asleep quickly. The next night, the knocking came again. When I woke up, my mom, dad, aunt, and her husband were already awake because of the noise.
Yeah.
The knocking stopped for
creepy.
a second, and then something tried the doorknob, like it was trying to get inside. It was locked, and whatever was out there seemed to get angry. We were terrified, and then it stopped. A few minutes later, we heard stomping, loud stomping, like something big was walking right outside. Oh, and I almost forgot. My dad checked under the door again. Still no shadow, still no legs. After the noises faded, my dad stepped outside to check. My aunt's husband stayed inside
Is
watching
someone
the
playing a
space
prank
under
on
the
them or
door
something?
to see if he would see my dad's legs or shadow from the hallway. His face changed instantly. He looked terrified because he saw my dad's legs and shadow clearly. Then my dad came back inside and we were all still scared. The next day, we packed up and left. My mom and aunt asked a worker if maybe there had been a drunk guest wandering around. But he told them, "Oh, the other customers were all gone. Their dates expired. The only customers here were you."
This guy looks creepy, bro.
We were shocked.
I think this
Since
guy
then,
was the person
I've
who's-
wondered, did someone try to break into that room and hide their legs so they couldn't be seen?
Yeah.
Or was it something else that knocked
Don't
on
know.
that door?
Alright guys, that was 3 creepy stories. If you guys want me to watch more of One Seas, please like and subscribe, comment down below which video I should watch, and yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.